Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Pull Chapter 84, and this one is titled A Quirk Makes All the Difference. I do, yes, Aizawa replied after a long pause. I thought so, as I heard you say her name, the person confirmed. Please forgive me if I say anything inappropriate, but without saying too much, don't live with regrets. Aizawa looked at them, then looked away and nodded. I understand. The person smiled and then turned to leave. I wish you all happiness. She has a beautiful soul, they said before they left. Aizawa's heart clenched. He knew it was true. You were let go by the attending nurse and they called a cab for you to get you home, and once it had arrived, Aizawa walked you over to it and opened the back door for you. Thank you, he said softly as you got in. Get home safe, he said, averting his eyes from yours. You nodded and looked down as he closed the door. The driver slowly pulled away from the curb and took you home while Aizawa stood and watched the cab go. The next morning, Yaoyorozu ran to the staff room to find you. Oh, Miss Lin, she gasped when she saw you there. Oh, thank goodness you're all right. I saw the news this morning. The news? You asked her. Yes, there was a mentally unstable person who had escaped from an institution nearby and used his quirk on a bus. You were on that bus. Oh, how did you know that? You asked with surprise. I saw you being treated in the background of the newscaster that was on the site, she said. I was so worried when I saw them checking you over. I'm okay, I promise, he said kindly. The driver of the bus was the only one injured. Yes, and it says they were taken to the hospital for an emergency double amputation, she said. Oh dear, they lost their legs, did they? I'm afraid so, she replied. I also saw the attending hero was a Razorhead. You chuckled sheepishly. Yes, funny how that happened. I am most grateful that he was the one to save you, she gushed, a light blush on her cheeks as her favourite teacher ship had sailed a little. Mizelle! Mina called as she ran in behind Yaoyorozu. You're on the news! We were just discussing it, Yaoyorozu replied to her classmate. No, now, you're on the news now! The bubbly pinkette grabbed for the remote to the TV in the staff room and flicked the TV on so you could see, and immediately the news came right on in the middle of them going over last night's story. On screen there were a few eyewitnesses explaining how the unstable person had guns on his arms and had jumped into the path of the bus with his quirk outstretched, then he had let loose on the bus, peppering it with bullets. You watched as the reporter then explained that they were on scene, and in the background you could be seen talking to the nurse. It's you! It's you! Yaoyorozu screeched excitedly, grabbing your arm and bouncing up and down. You smiled. Yes, that's when I was telling the nurse I was fine. The reporter continued on, talking about different things while various activities continued in the background. Just as they were finishing up the story, you could be seen getting into the cab and heading off. Then the ending images showed Aizawa standing there, sadly watching the taxi, with you in it, head off down the road. Your heart fluttered when you saw how he was watching the taxi disappear, but then looked away to avoid getting too emotionally wrapped up in it. I am so truly glad you're okay, Yaoyorozu said again as the news reports moved on. Thank you, I'm perfectly fine, I promise, he replied with a smile. You turned with the girls to head back to the class, but as you got to the staff room door you ran into Aizawa. Are you well? He asked in a low voice as he stopped you momentarily. Yes, I'm fine, you replied in a forced, pleasant tone. Glad to hear it, he replied, letting you pass him to go to the class. You continued on with the girls, smiling and talking, but as they took over the conversation you glanced back over your shoulder to the staff room door, then let your face fall. I wish I could leave sooner than 2 weeks. Yaoyorozu caught the sad look on your face and a worried expression crossed hers. I wish there was something I could do for Miss Lin. She still doesn't seem her usual happy self. I wonder what's happened. The next day came and went, as did the day after, and you did your best to be the best teacher you could be and focus on the class and not how awkward it was between you and Aizawa. On the surface everything seemed okay, and to everyone else it just looked professional. Little did they know it was all forced. It was the end of the week, and you had 1 week to go. You were looking forward to it, but at the same time you were starting to feel sad. You'd come to love this school and the students here, and you felt kind of bad that you would just up and disappear at the end of next week without even so much as saying goodbye. It's for the best, you thought, as you sat down at home, opening your laptop to mark some papers from an exam earlier that week. As you opened a document, an email popped up and you clicked on it curiously. A message from a hero school in America? You wondered, opening the message to read it. To Miss Lin, I do hope this email finds you well. My name is Kinji, and I am a good friend of Principal Nezu, as well as the principal of My Hero Academy in Washington. Nezu spoke very highly of your skills as a teacher and mentioned that you would regretfully be leaving UA in another week's time. It just so happens that one of our teachers here is going on maternity leave, and we have been looking for someone to fill her place. You would be guaranteed a year of work here if you decide to come across, and so I would like to extend the invitation to you to come for an entrance interview and teach here at our prestigious academy. Please do consider it. Kind regards, Kinji, Principal of My Hero Academy, Washington. You couldn't believe your eyes, and with utter disbelief you read the email 5 times over, blinking rapidly in between each time. And there ends chapter 84. Stay tuned for chapter 85 coming tomorrow.